Shalom, and welcome to today's episode of Living Chronicles. Today, I am humbled to have in my presence, he took the time out of his very busy schedule, Ahk Nataniel, Ben Bacooriyah, Cohane. You use Nataniel, not Nathaniel. Some people say Nathaniel, some people say Nataniel.
I use both.
You use both?
I respond to both.
You'll respond to, okay.
I was given the name Nataniel, which I remember from age 6. But as time went on, the same person that gave me the name called me Nathaniel. So,
do you remember who gave you your name?
Abba.
Like they gave everybody their names back in the day. Okay, so his name means given unto, a gift to Yah. He goes by the title of Ahk. Okay, came in 1984 at the age of 6 years old from Baltimore, Maryland, and he is currently 47 years young. Okay, he has 5 children. He doesn't look like he's old enough to have 5 children.
Thank you.
And one is as tall as he is.
Right.
Okay, he has 5 children, no grandchildren, no great-grandchildren yet. And his bio reads, he is a dedicated father, husband, son, brother, and friend to those that know him. He was one of the first group of youth to be chosen to be a part of the recommitted youth, and he was handpicked by Abba himself. So he's going to share how that happened. And he'll tell us, of course, what year Recommitted Youth was established. He's a 1996 graduate of Beit Sefer Akva, which means that you also went to Kingdom School in Holiness before Akva was even established.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about that. He trained and managed Ta'am HaChaim restaurant in Tel Aviv. Part of the finance administration at the start of the Aguda Shetufit, right? And he also was part of the Oved Lomed program and traveled internationally. So, Ahk Nataniel, welcome to Living Chronicles.
I'm blessed. Blessed.
Okay, hallelujah. Okay, so we'll jump right in. All right. So our first section, the story of you coming into the kingdom with your parents, your childhood before and in the KOY, before if you remember it, since coming at 6 years old, Your school days with Kingdom School and Holiness, Beit Sefer Akva, any memories, family, and also being the grandson of our very first centenarian.
Well, first, all praises to the Creator. I can remember far back as probably 2 years old.
Oh, really?
My parents used to tell me, "You can't remember that far back," and I would detail, certain
And then they'd be like,
things
"Oh,
that happened.
okay."
They'd be like, "Oh, we didn't tell you that? No, you didn't tell me. I don't remember you ever telling me."
You just remember being there, the actual.
So the start for me, like I said, was around 2 years old. That I can things that I can remember vividly was we used to have in Baltimore, Maryland. My abba, may his soul rest in peace, and my Savta, may her soul rest in peace.
Absolutely.
Both lived in the same house.
Oh, okay. So
Abba lived upstairs. Me, him, and my mother at the time lived upstairs, and my grandmother lived downstairs. And we met some brothers from the community, and actually they were from Israel. No, they were from the community anyway, from DC Extension. And they used to come around the house a lot after this is what I recollect.
Right.
As far as them coming around the house a lot, Tur Yirmiyahu was one of them. It was a brother named Ahk Kai, an artist.
I remember him.
Ahk Nataniel. Okay, all right. Ahk Nataniel, I kind of knew their whole family. Kokidisha, Elimelech, Prophet Elimelech, and Ahk Nataniel and his family. But I remember them coming around a lot, and then my abba would travel to DC.
Okay.
For at least twice a week for the meetings,
for classes,
or whatever. So after time, I would start asking him, "Take me. I want to go with you." First of all, I was everywhere with him.
Oh, okay. Y'all would
sometimes he couldn't go to work, and he would have to take me to work. He would tell me. Now this, he told me he would have to take me to work, and where he would put me is probably why I wouldn't remember, because I was with a bunch of other children that were probably on site or had some. But anyway.
But he was blessed to have a job where he could take you on a job with him.
Yeah, no, they was real lenient. I don't exactly know where he
what he was
at,
doing.
And so after some time, and he started taking me to DC, me and my mother at the time. And then him and my mother split. So my abba had full custody, and with my mother having visiting rights now. They both were in Baltimore, but like on two different sides of Baltimore.
Okay.
So, no, actually they wasn't that far from each other. But however, once the split came, my abba had already decided, he had told my Savta that he was joining the community. And whatever he had to do to leave America
is what he was going
to do, because he was already looking for Cohane Yosef was also
he was out of Baltimore.
One of those brothers that come. Yeah, he was out of Baltimore, and so these kind of people with whatever ideas they had, made him more convinced that he wanted to leave America and take his child, which I wasn't the only at the time. He had 3 other children.
Oh, okay.
Two other at the time. Well, 3 other children at the time on the other side of town. But I was the one that was with him.
Right.
So he was determined to get me, if anything, because he couldn't get to the
other
mother
ones.
of the other children and all of that. So we my mom moved out. She went to stay with her mother. My father started more going to DC, and within a year, I think, it had to be no less than a year, he told me,
we going.
First of all, he told me I'm leaving. He said
he was leaving.
He's leaving, and he's going to check and see if we can come.
Oh, okay.
Because I understood.
That makes sense. Yeah.
He was going to check it out for us.
Okay.
Because the only people that was in his life that close at that time was me and my grandmother.
Right. And he didn't want to just move y'all here and didn't know what was going on.
Leave my
that
grandmother.
Wasn't responsible, yeah.
He wasn't going to leave my grandmother.
Right.
Under no circumstances. She took care of him when he was sick and what he went through. And and me definitely, you know.
Right.
So I feel blessed being that one that was with him, you know, to even experience this. So about 1982, because I was about four-ish, he left. At this time, he had already took me. That's probably another story for another time. I happened to be over at her house. It had to be one weekend or a week or whatever. And my father came by in a car, and he seen me outside playing. And me and one of my cousins, and he scooped me up. He came, you know, he showed... No,
he didn't tell your mama. He just scooped you up.
I mean, the adults were inside. It was me and my little cousin. We were outside playing, and he came by in the car. He got out the car, and at the time they had the big wheel little bicycles for the children. So he got out the car, and I was on one of them, and he called me to the car. And of course you're gonna run. That's your abba. That's my abba. I run over to the car. Get in. We're leaving. And I was like, wait, I got to tell my mother, and, you know, I got to tell Tiana, because this is my little cousin, you know. He was like, no, we'll get back to them, you know. So I'm with my abba, you know. I left. From that day on until 27 years later, I didn't see that street, that city, my cousins, my mother, people are, you know. 2 nights later, my abba left and came to Israel. Left me in there with some saints that I could remember.
So he didn't leave you with your savta?
No. My savta, she stayed on her own because her plan, she already knew that if he was leaving, she wasn't far behind. But she had so much stuff to deal with, house and other foster kids. So, like I said, Nasika Haron became my spiritual, communal Saba.
Right,
you know,
okay.
grandfather at the time. So he came to Israel, and within 2 years, I was moved back and forth. Like I said, I was moved around so much. I remember so many. And finally, one weekend, my abba would call me every weekend. They would take me out to the payphone, and we would talk. And so we would go to the corner, and or she would take me down the street and make the phone call. My abba would call, and, you know.
Right.
So this one particular day, he told me, he said, you coming home. He said, I got permission for y'all. Y'all can come. And, you know, I seen everything. It's nice. You're going to love it. It's a lot of children. And, you know, that's all I could think of. Because in between that time, I had only grew up around a lot of older children that were older than me. The Ben Kais, the Ravi, Nasik Elimelech, he was only a year older than me. But, you know, all of them. And I kind of got from being around, you know, children
your
age.
age.
So I was excited.
Right.
At this time, my savta had already came.
Oh, okay.
She had already came to Israel within a few months because my abba was sickly when he was younger.
Oh, okay.
So he had sickle cell, and she was the only one that took care of him.
So she had to come here to take care of him.
Take care of her baby.
Come take care of her baby.
Yeah. So she came, and she decided to stay until I got here, because it was like, if my grandson ain't here, you know, I'll stay until you get here. But her thing wasn't to come and stay. She was just coming to check on him.
Oh, okay.
And she was supposed to go back.
Okay. But you see how that happened.
Once she got here, and it took longer than 2 weeks for me to get here. Then it took longer than a month for me to get here. I got here about 3 months after her.
Okay.
And once I got here, she had already decided to stay because she was like, you know, she loved it. She had met so many people her age that had the Imakavas and Imakibuda. Bless their souls, rest in peace, their souls.
Right. Hallelujah.
And that's when I came. So I came in the beginning of 1984.
Okay.
It was a few weeks around before New World Passover. It had to be a week. It wasn't that long. I can't exactly remember. When I came here, my abba was also married to, I don't know if you remember, Agadiah.
I remember.
You remember? Yeah, she stayed
right next door. She stayed right.
So when I first came, that was the first person that came and got me from the truck. Because like I said, she knew
But did you know her?
I came. Yeah, I knew her.
Oh, okay.
Go back a little
I
bit.
always thought that she was your Ima.
Everybody did.
I had no idea. I thought she was your
Everybody
biological
from that time,
Ima.
everybody from that time thought she was, because my abba came here with her. That was another person he met in Baltimore. Kind of brought her over here in the kingdom.
Right.
She, they end up getting married, and
So she came and got you from the truck.
Yeah, she came and got me from the truck, took me to the guest house, which is now the guest house. From there, I went to Sar Absalom's house for some reason.
Up on the hill?
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew Ahk Nataniel, like I said. I knew him and his family. But when I woke up in the bed, I was in Shaltiel's and Saj's in them bed, because everybody slept together in the front room.
Right. All of the mats laid out.
They thought I was their cousin. They jumps up. Oh, my cousin here. They found I don't really know you all, but okay.
But okay.
From that day on, we've been the best of friends.
Wow.
I've been real close with, these families that I've been able to live with or first touch ground with. Anyway, coming was an experience for me, being around, like I said, a lot of children. Coming from America at 5, I was really 5. I was going to make 6 next month.
Okay.
I made 6 within a month. But coming at that age, I was, as far as the English language, I was a little far advanced than the children my age.
Right.
Reading, writing, really speaking English at that time. So I would always get in, positions where I'm helping somebody else with their English.
Right.
And it seemed like I was so young, but I was like, okay, I can help you. I can help you. I remember moving to many houses on the kifar. Because at the time, my abba, you had to find a place. Once you got married, it's almost like it wasn't no places on the kifar.
Because it was so crowded.
It was so crowded. It was so many people.
Yeah.
And so many families in one house.
In one house, yeah. That's when you had 30, 40 people to a house.
Right. If you ended up getting married with no children, they'll slip you in somebody's porch room or something like that. I'm just saying.
I lived in the porch room on the Shikun, and we didn't even have a door. I had a curtain, and it was in the hallway. Right.
So I moved around a lot because my abba, he actually at the time didn't work in the city. He worked in Rehovot at the Orange.
At the Orange moshav?
Yeah. He was one of the starters, as far as I remember. And he wasn't so much up there in the factory. He dealt with the vehicles, which I can remember. He dealt with the vehicles. He probably started in the factory, but he ended up dealing with the vehicles that.
Like as a mechanic or driver?
As a mechanic.
As a mechanic?
Him and Bacooriyah. 1984, 1985, my abba remarried. No, 1986 he remarried, but 1985, between 1984 and 1985, like I said, I moved so many places. From Akalai and Sar Absalom's house, I moved to my Savta's house, which she was staying at, 413 at Cohane Shares.
Okay.
Then they moved her. No, before there she was staying at remember the emote? They used to call it the emote.
The emote by it, yeah.
Well, all the Imahot used to be up there.
Right.
Imakava.
Right.
Ima Malka.
Was Ima Avi living up there?
Ima Avi. I think Ima Ruby was still around. Ima Bati's Ima. And my Savta. But we stayed there for a while. Ima Segula and them used to stay there. Her soul rest in peace. And like I said, I moved there with my Savta to Sari Suska house. I even remember a time staying at Ahk, where he stays at now. That was a brother's house. After Imam Mira stayed there.
Okay.
But the bigger room was a brother's room. And my abba stayed in there for a minute with the brothers. Then we moved to Quinn Ben Kesset house, where his house is now.
Okay.
And that was a brother's house, Ahk Nataniel and
I don't know if you were here when the Choice Collection was here. Ahk Nataniel.
I was here when Khan was here. He had a room.
Ahk Nataniel had a room. He lived there, but I think the other room was brothers, wasn't it?
The bigger room was brothers.
What was his name? Bacooriyah. He lived there at one time.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to remember who else, because they used to rehearse over there.
Okay, that's where that collectiveness came from.
Right. They used to rehearse over there in their front room. Yep.
Yep. So during all this time, like I said, I was back and forth with whoever could take care of me at the time, because it was only me, my abba, and my savta as far as family. Once my abba got married to my Ahk Nataniel, we moved to where Ahk stays now.
Okay.
I used to staying there with Cohane and Bacooriyah, and
Yeah.
there was another brother named Daniel and Kassidia, and they children,
Okay.
Yochanan and Jonathan and all of them. We stayed there for a minute. There, we my abba ended up meeting Ahk Yochanan and the Kodadina, may her soul rest in peace.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
in Tel Aviv at the time, and we had the opportunity to, whatever they were going through, we had the opportunity to raise one of their children. I mean, my abba and my ima actually, took you there, and we raised her as, one of our own until Kodadina ended up
being able to get back,
being able to get back in and get back here,
right,
and be, stable or whatever was going on. That was a pleasure, because until this day,
yeah, that's your sister.
That's my little sister. Growing up, my youth here became very exciting. School.
You like school?
I always loved school. Not just seeing friends, but it was like learning to me.
The academics
was
everything.
Everything, like, and not so much being bragging, tapping myself on the shoulder, but I was always one of those in class that was, you go to him. He
caught it quick.
You
got it. Mentored every other people.
Right. So it really came natural to me.
Came easy.
It came real natural to me until we got in Agva, and I didn't see how. I mean, it was still running cool, but when it came to tests, and the test that we were given in Agva, that was a different kind of level for me. Even though was
the language an issue, or not so much the language? Just
with me specifically, language wasn't an issue, because one of those steps that I end up taking in life was moving to Sarsa's house. When we moved there, everything changed from English to Hebrew.
Yes.
So we wasn't able to speak English in the house. I mean, we snuck and spoke English, and if somebody taught us, no, Ivrit. So Ima Samaki had done a fabulous job.
Yes.
Especially on my part, as far as, and me personally, she used to take me in to her room with the girls in the morning. I used to be like part of her seven, because everybody had a seven in that crew. Those Rocket had all his, and,
Imanafshi,
everybody had all theirs. So, she would take me, and
so you live with those Rocky and his family as well.
Yeah. That's also one of those families, one of those people that I, connected with.
Right.
Real close. Me and Benzaraki.
Benzaraki,
forever.
Shimshon, Makael, the whole family. Imasamaki gave you some extra tutoring and whatnot. So when you got in Akva, you were ready.
Exactly. Even before that, my Hebrew had improved so much, and I always gave thanks to her, because not many people would sit down and give you the time, or even care if you spoke Hebrew, but the fact that she actually cared, and every time she would hear us speaking English, it was changed to Hebrew. You couldn't speak English on the Shabbat at all. It was just certain things that it put the language in me real quick.
That's great.
Once I got to school and got in Agba, kind of went smooth.
But the test in itself, though, was still it was just another environment. And it was a little bit difficult.
Overwhelming. It's like, you go through school and you study so much stuff, but how are you supposed to keep all this stuff on your head to write down on paper at a given time, or within a frame?
Because you're talking like 8, 9 different subjects.
And
Ezra Hoot,
over 12 years.
Right.
So,
you remember what grade you were in when you started in Akva?
When I started in Akva, I started in 10th grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were going into high school.
Yeah. So we didn't have that many years to finish.
Right. For the Bagru.
But we did do quite a few Bagruyot.
Okay.
Coming through Akva. Big Dusha. Before Akbar was Big Dusha. That was where I got all my life training.
Right.
Really, really. I mean, Koshaira, I think she was the best teacher that I've had in my lifetime of school. She was the best teacher. Not only did she teach English and vocabulary and things like that, how to read, all of that, she also taught us life skills. She used to put us in groups, and I think Jonathan talked about it too, about how she made us self-govern.
Right.
The class.
Right.
We picked the president, we picked the vice if needed, secretary, treasurer, and we ran our class. So when it came to punishment, we had security, we had judges, we had people to deal, with
So
situations.
she made you all responsible and accountable, and she taught you how to function in the world.
In the world, and that put a lot on me going into Akbar too, because not only did we now I knew how to, read and write and the grammar and arithmetics, but I also knew how to manage myself.
She was actually teaching leadership.
That's it. She was actually teaching leadership, and Murray Uri with, all of that too. He was also a good help going into the school, because he didn't teach me after going into Akbar. But before Akbar, he was the preparatory teacher. Right before we went in Akbar, he would tell us, this is what it's going to be like going to Akbar. So he kind of got us prepared, for that. On the it was just so much, so overwhelming growing up here. I came here over the years and found exactly what most children would look for, a place where growing up, I didn't get discriminated. I didn't hear discrimination. So it was, all sababa. Everything was just,
Right.
I know some people may talk about what they didn't have and, times that they didn't eat. I remember those times. When I'm saying I remember those times because I can remember the little stuff we done for attention or for food or, and it wasn't because, in my instance, it wasn't because it wasn't there. It was because we had certain guidelines about, getting to or doing this.
Give me an example.
Take, for instance, food.
Okay.
Food. Just simple as food. I've heard stories from people before me in Cohane that struggled.
That were really, really hungry.
Struggled.
Eating out the ashpa.
Yeah. So I couldn't understand that until you can go in your kitchen when you stand in the house with four families, 5 families. Everybody probably got their little cabinet, if they got that, or else it's in the room.
Right.
Every family, because that's how it was.
That's how it was, yeah.
So going to get food, it wasn't available because it's either locked up. You can't get in the kitchen as a youth.
You're not allowed. If you did not have a cook day,
right.
You better not go in there for nothing. Maybe a glass of water.
Right.
That
maybe
was
a glass
about
of water.
it. That's the only reason you should be in there.
It's 5 sisters in the house.
Right.
So
Right.
5 or more. So
and there's always somebody in the
Karatazuna. So that was cut off. And then if you go in your room, like everything was this for tomorrow, this for Shani, this for Slishi. So
everything was designated.
Yeah. So you couldn't mess that up. So it was either let's go find some food somewhere. We did some stuff.
Go hustle some money. Go empty some trash cans with somebody. Go do something.
Yeah, that was the good stuff.
That was the good stuff, but y'all did some bad stuff.
We done some bad stuff. We done some stuff that, I can laugh about today. We just sat last night and laughed about some stuff we used to do, but it was out of...
You were hungry.
Hunger, attention, boredom.
Okay.
Boredom. Growing up...
Because it wasn't like we had TV back then.
No TV. No phones.
Cell phones didn't even exist back then.
I remember I think I was about 8, probably 9, between 8 and 10. I remember the Beit Sahala.
Yeah.
Everybody would go there. Like, I think it was if it was in the summertime when the whole day was open, probably 3 times a day because it was 3 shows that came on.
Right.
Children could see.
Because there was one TV.
Children could see.
Yeah, that children could see.
And we went there to the Beit Sahala for that. Other than that, it was one TV for the whole community. Everybody.
And then you could rent the TV and rent movies. You had movie night in your house.
Yeah. So it was exciting. You know, some people can say, "Oh, we, got Trump," and I believe a lot of us are still traumatized, what they call PTSD,
right?
From,
from some of the things that did happen.
Stuff that did happen, and I don't put it past nobody who complains about that, because these things did happen,
right?
And to each their own, meaning each person that it happened to, it affected differently,
right?
So, I had a good childhood.
For the most part, you had a good you had a good childhood.
The one thing that I did miss a lot in my younger years was my abba being around,
because he was always gone.
He was always gone. After Rehovot and after the siege, okay, first I'm gonna go 1986. The siege come. Okay, all these saints is arrested in Rehovot.
Right.
My abba happened to be in Rehovot that night. Him and Ahk Bacooriyah had just got through fixing the car, one of the cars that was up there. And he explained to us that 2 hours had passed probably. And, there's so much chatter on the radio, everything was happening. But they had finished the work and they decided to leave. Him and Ahk Bacooriyah, the saints were still up there. I think it might have been a weekend night or a Rehovot night or something like that, but it wasn't quite time for the saints to come back, because they remember they came home every weekend. He said as he went back towards Rehovot, they saw a band of police
headed in
that direction, but
they didn't give it no thought like that.
Giving no thought like that. And
no
everything
idea.
Happened to Israel, And by the time they got to Rishon, which where they were staying, everything popped off. They called from Dimona telling him and Ahk Bacooriyah to stay put, get Rofa and them, because she was working in Rehovot at the time at one of the restaurants we had, and stay put until they get back word with them. At this time, I'm in Dimona, my imam, former imam. She was there. We were staying in Sari Seska's house, and my abba would usually come home or call in, get nothing from him. But now we hearing everything that's going on. Saints being arrested in the States. The Saints 46 then got arrested, and they done sent half of them to jail over here. And some of them they talking about deporting the next day or the week later.
Wow.
And all this is in a array. For 2 days we didn't hear from my abba.
Wow. Because they weren't even allowed to leave the house.
They weren't allowed to leave the house. Back then. Cut phones off, everything. Wasn't no cell phones.
Right.
And TV was barely, you can get probably one channel, two channels, but no communication in all. Because we was communicating either through the restaurant, like I said, at a payphone.
Right.
You call the temple, that's the payphone.
Right.
One phone
the
on
one
kifar.
Phone on the kifar.
So I remember doing the siege. The day we got dressed, my abba was not here. I got up that morning. I was staying in Sari Saska's house. We were sent out to get the breakfast for the children, because we used to either go to Kedokeo and eat in the morning, all the children,
or go get the food and bring it back to the house.
Bring it back so it could be cooked.
Right.
Me and Ben Zarakia went from Sari Saska's house
to
Kedokeo. Now, remember in the back of Nasi Gavrel's and Nasi Emmanuel's, it used to be clear back there, or it was cornfields, or it was something else. We was able to go through there.
Skinny DeVore talked about corn that they grew back there before they did the extensions. Yeah,
so we ran through there, went to get the food. But on our way, we had seen the tanks and the soldiers on the school, and
on top of Zinman
school, and on the streets, and we was like, what is going on? We, at this point, we don't even have an idea what's going on. We children.
Right.
We're not really understanding.
Right.
So we runs back, get the breakfast, run back to the house, tell the adults in the house, it's soldiers and stuff outside. I don't even think they were aware.
Right.
Until some of the saints went out and was like, actually, wow, what is going on? Okay, then we get the message. I mean, we had already been prepared, but...
Because we were preparing to leave that day.
Right. So then we get the message, it's time. Everybody
put on their white, everybody gets dressed.
Exactly. So we came out. I actually was standing right in front in the gap way between Ima Samaki's house and Nasi Gavrel's house. I can remember me standing there with my little sold backpack that my Ima had put together with my name on it. And we all standing there, and I could see the priests and Abba, everybody right in the Ganzi grown, so we had a straight view. That day was so amazing to me after years of looking back on it, of course, because I was a child then. All we could see is we about to march. I don't know how far Jerusalem is. But we're finna walk. Now, after I got older and I understood.
Realized the distance.
That was a point that we were making, but I don't even think that
we were ready to walk. We made it to your room, Coach.
Really? Right. So I'm like, all of these people.
Right.
But it showed me at that time, when I got older, it showed me that our resilience, our steadfastness, our dedication
and commitment to what we believed in. We were ready. We were going.
We were ready at any given moment. We were, you know.
Yeah.
That was a real testing time. Like I said, so finally, after a couple of days after the march was supposed to happen, the siege. My Abba,
y'all still hadn't gotten word from your Abba?
We hadn't gotten word. We was getting from communications in the community was that the Saints were all right. Nobody had been deported or whatever. Unknowingly, my Abba had got arrested.
He had?
He had got arrested because he had to go between Rishon and Rehovot, either to do something at the restaurant, close up, or whatever. And they ended up catching him, randomly out in Rehovot and arrested him for a minute. It was an article. I wish I could have bought it. It was an article on him from 1986 that they had, detained, one of the Hebrews, and they was talking about deporting him. How he got out of it, I don't know. To this day. And he didn't know. He just know at a certain time they came and opened the gate and told him he was free. He was able to go. But he had to go to Dimona. Said that. He was like, okay.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to go anyway.
He didn't ask no questions from there.
Wow.
So we got through that. That was in April. That same year, my Abba got married to Atura Diva, my Ima Diva.
Okay.
Next year, 87, he got married to my Ima Diva. And we moved back where her house was in the back to Ahk Nataniel's house, Raphael Ron. And stayed there for a while. Enjoyed. I helped do the playground. The playground, the basketball hoops. We done that for the youth.
Okay.
Coming up, put up the hoops and painted the court and done all that because that's what we used to play basketball at.
Right.
The big basketball court was for the brothers, big boys and the brothers. So we made us, little basketball court, tennis
playground,
balls and stuff. Yep. After Ahk Nataniel's house, my Abba got married again to his second wife, Maima Shalema.
Mm-hmm.
We moved up to Ahk Ben Kayel's house, which is now Atul El Zari's house. We stayed up there with Ahk Ben Kayel, who my Ima Adiva and Ahk Ben Kayel had been close because they both came from Detroit at the same time. And,
Right.
So, Dura Marnina, she was up there, and her children, and Kohen Elisha, my sister Behira, their children. And from there, we moved to Tiberias. My family was chosen, according to what I know, we were chosen to move to Tiberias, along with, at the time, us, Kohen Elikaz, about 4 other families, 4 or 5 other families. Me, Kohen Elikaz family.
Kohen
Yosef family. He's not in here. Akakiel, Kohen Gedalia, and Sabta. So we all moved to Tiberias, and this is had to be 91. This is after the Gulf War. That was another thing we went through during the Gulf War, because it wasn't for all this time. It was just me.
Right.
12 years. Of the 12 years I was alone. I had no siblings.
Right.
At 12 years old, here comes Malkia. My Shanema, after my Abba's second marriage, My Shanema, here comes Malkia. Oh, she was the most screamingest baby, we could ever have. It seemed like she was always hungry. But, and after her, they started coming.
Right.
But we stayed up there during the Gulf War at Ahk Ben Kayel's house.
Right. So y'all had a safe room set up just like we had down here?
Actually, our room, yeah. Our room and Corn Shop's room, which was two back rooms with the windows in the back.
Right.
Remember, those are the two safe rooms in the house. So half of the house went to that room and half of the house came to, the other room. And it was funny just seeing the brothers, everybody, the beards cut off.
Shaved, right?
I mean, that was a funny time, and all the rhymes that came out around it, and
right?
all the jokes that came out. And
right.
So
it was a time, definitely.
That was definitely a time. Me getting involved with the youth now. When I turned about 13.
So let me ask you this before you go into that. When you were living in Tiberias, y'all went to an Israeli school up there?
Oh, okay. No. Living in Tiberias, the question came up, did we want to go to an Israeli school because we had an opportunity? But of course we were like, no, because one, when will we see our friends?
Right.
That was the main thing. The main thing is, when are we going to Dimona? Because if we go to school up here all the time, it's
right, we'll never get to Dimona. We'll never see our friends.
So, he sent back and told us that we didn't have to come. We would come to Dimona and they would arrange transportation for us to bring. So we was, ecstatic about that. Now, years later, I kind of regretted it.
Why?
Because I feel that being up there and in the environment we was in, we could have learned more about the environment that we were in. It was mainly agriculture.
Okay.
The school that we were actually going to go to was an agricultural school for the kids that came from the moshavim. They went to this school. Wow. They learned regular stuff, but they learned it was basically agriculture.
Had an emphasis on agriculture.
Emphasis on so that I regretted making that decision, but in the end,
But you made a 12-year-old decision. Yeah. 12-year-olds, my friends. Yeah. We ain't think about agriculture, the future, none of that.
Right. So, also at 12, around 12 years old, after we moved to Tiberias, from 5 to 12, I never spoke to my mother. Okay, we left her. I left her, didn't see her from the day. My biological mother. Okay. Still lives she lives in Baltimore. She was. I hadn't spoke to her. Hadn't written her because I didn't have that access.
Right.
I remember one time during that time, my abba took me to the phone at the temple. She called or he called her or whatever, just so she can talk to me. We talked for a minute, and she started asking some questions that I couldn't answer or wasn't supposed to answer. Mm-hmm. And the phone. He took the phone, hung the phone up. So that was the end of that.
Right.
7 years passed from then, and I hadn't heard nothing, seen nothing. And one day, a letter shows up in Tiberias. No, it shows up in Dimona. Somebody forwarded it to Tiberias because the name that was on it.
It was addressed to you or your abba?
It was addressed to me. It had my name, but it had one of the names was wrong on it. It had my American name, but the Hebrew name she had wrong. I don't know where she had got that from. But so my abba came in and he brought the letter out. Like I said, at this time it was like forbidden for me to even ask questions about it. It wasn't so much forbidden to say it forbidden, but it was like
it was understood.
It was understood. I mean, that question we left that.
Right. But that didn't mean that as a child that you still didn't miss your ima.
Exactly. Because
you were a child. That was your ima.
My ima Shalema tell you now, I remember when you used to cry or you used to get in trouble all the time, you would scream out for your mother, your ima, I want my mother. And that was what you were just saying. Like,
right.
I always missed her. I always knew that she wasn't here.
Right.
So, and that always caught a hard part of me because people would be like, oh, that's your imam. You know how we were as kids. No, that's not my imam. That's not my imam. My imam is,
Right. But the letter came. Yeah, but let you have it.
When he got the letter, he called me in and I'm, trying to see I'm in trouble. He sat down and he said, I received a letter for you. I'm like, a letter?
For me?
For me? From where? Like, who? I remember writing my Safta's sister, her name, my Aunt Eunice, and she used to write, but she used to write my abba a lot too. So I figured
it was okay.
She got now she know I can communicate with her as far as writing and whatever. So she probably writing me. No, he said. So he took the letter out. He started reading it, and I'm like, my mother, like, she wrote me, like, where this come from?
Right.
He was like, yeah, she wrote you. How did she get
the address?
How did she get? She know your name, but it's kind of mixed up. How did she get all this information? I was like, I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't do nothing.
Come to find out, she had met Ahk Nataniel in Baltimore,
okay.
which Ahk Nataniel had been friends of our family. She knew him from years ago, but he had went through his thing and hadn't been seen for a while. But when he popped back up on surface, she met Ahk Nataniel, and then she met my Abba's foster brother, who he was trying to come here too. He had always been interested in coming here, but however,
it just didn't happen.
But she ended up talking to both of them, and she got a little.
She got the information that she needed to.
From then on, he was like, I was 14, so I'm like, I know how to write. I know how to go to the post office by myself. This kind of stuff I'm doing, so I might as well. He was like, okay, he gave me his guidelines on how to do it, and how to keep it. She gonna try to convince you to come back over there. All that. I was already convinced that I'm living here. I love this. I can't see myself uprooting and go nowhere else.
Back
Not that it would be hard, but I just couldn't see myself doing it.
Right.
So I took the letter. I wrote back. And from then on, we started having open communication. She was able to call. I gave her the house number. She was able to call. My abba didn't speak to her that much. And anytime they did, they got into
an argument.
Over stuff 20 years ago, 15, however long it was. So I would always intermediate and be like, give me the phone. Okay, we're not talking about this right now.
So you became a negotiator at 14.
Right. So years passed. We lived in Tiberias for at least 10 years that I can remember.
Wow.
Probably longer. My family probably longer. Me specifically, once I got 18, of course, I was still at home, but I was,
You was in Dimona.
Right. All my friends was in Dimona.
Right.
So I couldn't stay away from friends all year. No. And as soon as summer came, I was back down here. But
so during the time that you were in Tiberias, that's when you came into the recommitted youth? Or was it after
during the
that?
time I came into... Yeah, no, we was living in Tiberias. I was still living in Tiberias, but I was down here more because of school.
Because of school, right, yeah. Absolutely.
We would go home, or they would arrange for us to go home at least once a month for a long weekend, which they called it. From Kamashi, we would live after school and come back Rishon, which we would just miss Rishon in school.
Right.
We would have one of them once a month. All the children from up there would come down. The recommitted came to me actually at about, we had to be about 16, 17. I had to be about 16, 17. When the idea came up, before that, it was so much doubt and disbelief, or how could I say it, in the youth at the time, because of the tragedy.
Because of the tragedy, yeah. Jonathan spoke about that, the coming back after that and trying to
it was like the youth
establish.
All our eyes were focused on the youth and behavior. Being young, all we saw is what we heard. All we visualized is what we heard. Right. Oh, y'all evil, y'all wrong, y'all this, y'all that. Whatever the tragedy was about, in my eyes,
you wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
Yeah, you didn't have anything to do with that.
I was actually a year away from that particular trip. That night of the tragedy, they had went on a Wild M trip.
Right.
Came back when they were supposed to. Well, when they came back, my abba came and woke me up. We were staying at Ahk Nataniel house at the time. He came and woke me up and told me that the three youth had passed. Had drowned. Gael, I don't know if you remember Akab from Arad. His band was staying there too, because Koyardena.
Yeah, that's the family. Yeah.
So he had came back, and when he came in the room, in the boys' room, and he was looking down, I was like, what's up? But he couldn't talk about it or whatever. Not to talk about it until it was, because it was supposed to be a meeting on the Shabbat. Right. Everybody was supposed to be notified properly or whatever. My abba ended up waking us up and telling us what happened and everything. From then, I was like, whoa. Because at this point, I had stayed with one of the boys, Zebulon. I had stayed upstairs with them for years. You know, I was like family with them. So that was a shock. That was a hard hit. Yeah. You know. So like I said, after the tragedy, the youth had kind of got in a bad light within the community. So years had passed, and Abba saw the kind of work like people like Jonathan was doing. Naskeli Melik, you know. Right. Restructuring, trying to get things back on track, trying to get back to where Wow M used to be. And he decided to one meeting he called. No, he used to have us come into sit-ins, the youth. Right. We were so disarray. This was that. We were so disarray that it took the father himself to come pull us together at least once a week and give us these classes. Right. One was on effective prayer. That was one of the main classes, was on effective prayer. He would bring all the youth together, and this is what he would do. But still, within the youth, it was many of those that they considered troublesome or, you know, problematic. Right. So he went around the room one night and started asking us about dedication and dedicating ourselves to our cause, whatever that may be. And he said, you know what? I can't remember exactly the words he said and how he started picking, but he pointed to about 5 of us. I remember it being Yovela, Yehonatan, myself, Ephrata, Paltiel. There might have been a couple of other ones that was in there with us. Those were the main ones. Those were the main ones. Elon was in there too. He picked us and he stood us up, and he started talking on us as far as example. You know, the kind of character we had, the kind of, you know, people we were. And that, I think that started the core of the Recommitted and what he wanted to do. Right. Because during this time, we was, me, Paul T.O., Yehonatan, Elon, at the time, we were real involved with the youth. You know, whether it was, we thought we was gonna be the next scholars. We used to write scripts, right?
He told me about the plays y'all used to do.
Yeah,
y'all used to do plays.
Used to write plays. We used to write
y'all need to get to writing.
Documents.
Y'all need to get to writing again. We need some plays.
Man, we used to write documents.
Wow.
Like we had a whole document about the youth, how you join the youth, and I know Jonathan ended up incorporating it later because he became the chairman of the youth at a certain time. So all this was a part of our, you know, endeavor, like to, you know, educate, enlighten. We had a point in life where we had a spiritual enlightenment. We went out to the dumps one Shabbat. We was just walking, and we found a well. We stumbled across a well. Now, we don't know that it's supposed to be wells out here. But we don't know if it's a well even out here. But once we drank from the well, it was like we got enlightened. We just felt we had just hit the top, you know. Right. And we came back and
y'all was junior Vietnamese.
Man, we started putting it on up. You know, we started putting it on our peers, and, you know, and everything. So this what made our movement kind of, you know, stand out. And we were a group of friends always, you know. Right.
So y'all had that bond.
So we had that bond. And I think at that point, Abba saw that. He saw the few that was striving to be different or not striving to go in the same direction that everybody else was going. So he chose to put together, and he said, I'm going to come weekly and we'll sit. You know, I'm going to sit with y'all and I'm going to teach y'all some of the, you know, principles of the kingdom. Which we was like, wow, Abba coming to talk just to a group of us. Right. This is out of his busy schedule. We know how it be. Right. And he took that time out every Motzah Shabbat and came to speak to us or came to teach us something, whether it was African traditional dance. He would bring somebody. he brought Akyasai and Ado Yasharian to teach us the reggae dance. He brought singers in to teach us different styles of music.
Wow.
We was trying to gear everything back to kingdom made, kingdom creation. And at the same time, during this time, okay, because time was going on. I'm like 18. I'm getting out of school. Akava graduated in 96.
Before I got to Akva.
Yeah, I graduated in 96. Only had 3 years in Akva. But those 3 years, we put in a lot of work. And we, came out with what we came out at.
Right.
We didn't have a large class. We only had 22 people in our class. By the time we graduated, we ended up with probably, I think, 17.
Wow. Somebody left.
Yeah, a few of them left. Some of them got in trouble before, so they couldn't graduate with us.
Oh, okay.
And basically, that was 96. Between 96 and 98, my whole point or my being was to do something for the nation. This is how I was raised.
Right.
To be a part of one of the ministries. This was something they would always push on to us too.
Right,
to be a part of one of the ministries, keep this going. I was always focused in business.
Okay.
That was my main focus then. And either accounting, business management. I didn't know how to approach it, which direction to approach it first. So I went with bookkeeping.
Okay.
I started at bookkeeping. I started going to school in Tel Aviv.
Oh, really? Once you graduated from Akva?
Once I graduated from Akva.
Okay.
No, it was about a year later, but I started going to bookkeeping. This time out the door. I had told him, and he was interested in the bookkeeping and the accounting. So he actually, paid.
Hallelujah.
He told me to make the arrangements, and he, dealt with the payment and everything. And we had time of Haim in Tel Aviv at the time. Mm-hmm. That's what happened. I was bought from school on the Oved Lomed in time of Haim, because that's what they would do. They would, every summer when school ended, either the graduates would come up there or some students would come up there to help during the summer months. But I was specifically on a training program to come up there and manage, because that's where Ahk Nataniel, of course, gave her all the time, all these years, so we were looking for replacements.
Right.
So I went up there as a, understudy to replace her.
Right.
Wow, those was some great years of my life. I learned a lot, under Ahk Nataniel. I learned a lot in Tel Aviv, period. Just being in Tel Aviv. I had friends that had left the community, being around, seeing how they lived and,
right. Compared to how
we were raised and what I lived.
Right.
And
you got a chance to make a choice.
Exactly. And I had that chance every time one of them came around, because the question would be, why you still there? Why you still doing this? Or what you doing? Why you
why you all caught up?
Right.
Yeah.
And my thing would be like, I'm not, it ain't about me being caught up, but I just don't see that more interested.
Right.
I don't see no interest over there that's just going to pull me to over there. So this is mine. At least I could say this is mine.
Right.
But that was always my approach with it. I had many friends that had gone their way for their reasons, and I understood some of their reasons.
Right.
But it didn't affect me for me to go there.
Right.
For what, And then my abba, my safta, I wouldn't for nothing in the world. I mean, they brought me here and built this around me, or put me, in this environment. That's the least I could do for them. Is to stay around, that long. But sometimes talking about my abba and my safta,
I know
it gets me real emotional, because my abba, he done everything to keep food on the table, a house over our head, and shoes on our feet. Mm-hmm. When we literally didn't know where it was coming from, because my abba was always sickly. He never worked a 9-to-5 job. Mm-hmm. he physically he couldn't hold that
wasn't
down.
Able to do that
and whatever. But we had. That's why I was saying growing up, I wasn't hungry. It was just the boredom. Because me specifically, I never missed out on nothing.
Right.
But being away from my parents at times for months at times sometimes. You know, moving down here. Being down here 9 months out of the year. Staying at Nasik Shalig's house or Bacooriyah's house with just random people. Saba Shalig, that was my Saba at the time. But Bacooriyah house, just with random people. Like, you know, it kind of, some of the stuff traumatized me.
Right.
Some of the stuff, you know, really stuck with me for years. I couldn't stand, or I couldn't talk to this person, or I couldn't, you know. And it took me to grow up to realize that those are the pains in life. Those are the, you know.
And again, to make a choice.
And you have a choice to make. Because again, coming back to 19, when I was 19, I had another choice to make. I got in a situation. I had just came in, and me and one of my friends we had just came in, me and my friend, and we had just took some of the girls to the movies in Beersheba. We got in trouble.
Because we wasn't allowed to go to the movies. We wasn't allowed to go to
the movies without permission.
Right.
And if it was, it had to be a
PG.
a PG or a movie that was already screened.
Right.
You know, or whatever. We got in trouble. Mainly we got in trouble because the two girls, they hadn't came in yet. So they were still
they were
teenagers.
Minors.
They were
so to
19,
speak.
but they were still minors. So I was sent to Tiberias.
On Onish.
Me and my friend sent away. Told us to go to Tiberias, don't come past
Tel Aviv.
No, they told us Beersheba.
They told y'all Beersheba.
No, they did tell us Tel Aviv.
That used to be the same.
We showed up at the at the parks they used to go to, Maymadion.
Right.
We showed up on one of those trips and somebody went off on us. Y'all ain't supposed to be down here. Like, we get on the bus and go. At this point, we growing up, so we like young men. Like, But we got put on punishment. I went up there, and that same year, talking about choices, I had a choice. I could leave here and go to the States and forget this, because at the point, like I said, I'm in communication with my mother, grandmother, cousins, everybody. I know them now. They done got together, got me a ticket. When you coming? I got a date. At this point, because I'm so hurt too.
Right.
I'm like, anytime. When? Book it.
Right.
You know?
Especially after you're giving all your all in all and trying to.
It seems like you're doing everything right, but you make one little mistake, and they tear you down for it, and you get torn down for it.
Right.
So I felt real bad, and I was like, I'm going to the States. You know, I start life over there, school, whatever.
Right.
Two things that kept me back. That kept me from making that decision. Well, it was supposed to be a December. I was supposed to leave. Get there before Christmas. I had planned it out. I'm telling you, I had planned it out, had everything. I said, I'm going to get here before Christmas. You know, my family going to see me. So they end up giving me a lot right then so I could start good. And okay, December came. My parents didn't know nothing about this. My abba didn't know.
Your Savta
didn't know. The night before I left Tiberias to come to Dimona, because I used to come down here for the weekend, see friends again. But I was on Onish. I wasn't supposed to come.
So you weren't even supposed to be down here. So you're going to have to sneak down.
Right. Sneak somewhere, you know, and not be seen until I was ready to leave the city, because I was going from here to the airport.
So you came all the way from Tiberias, practically through Tel Aviv to Dimona to go back to Tel Aviv. But you couldn't leave without seeing your friends.
I couldn't leave without seeing my friends. And, of course, I had a girlfriend, so I couldn't leave without that. So I tells myself the night before I was supposed to leave to Tiberias, I told my Savta, I went in and I talked to my Savta. Because that was the only person that I could really, at the time, that was the only person I could share anything with, and I can get her honest opinion. Mm-hmm. You know, not only because she was my Abba's Ima, but because I grew up around her. She raised me like, you know.
Right.
Like a son for all the years that I didn't have a mother around.
Right.
Or even some of the years that they were around, I was still, you know,
right.
Savta's grandchild.
Savta's always going to be Savta.
You know. So I went in and told her And I remember the disappointing look on her face. But she said, you're going to do what you have to do. She said, that's the only thing that's going to make your life. She said, if you have to do that, if you feel you have to do that, go ahead and do it if that's going to make your life any better than what it is. Because she saw what I was going through.
Right.
You know, I mean, and it wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a bad child. It wasn't, you know, but she saw that I wanted more. Or
that there was something that was missing.
Something that was missing all the time, all those years. Because even when I did get in trouble during the years, I would run to her. But she got physically at a point that she couldn't get up and run behind everybody that that I came to her about. So it was like nobody else. My abba, bless his soul, he was married to 3-4 women, got these many children. All the problems don't belong to me no more. You know, it ain't about me no more.
Yeah,
you know,
you wasn't the only one. Yeah.
And I had to suck that up. You know, I couldn't even, I had a time I couldn't even talk to him like, you know, like a parent. Like, it's so many things that I wish that we could have sat down and talked about, and he could have taught me that I had things that I had to learn on my own or learn later in life. But at that time, like I said, I made a choice. Came the night of, I came down to Dimona. Excuse me. Came down to Dimona. And seen some of my friends. I was at Benzarak's house. Everybody came over. The ones that could. Oh, man, you leaving? Nah. And I get a phone call. At the time, it was my girlfriend's abba. He heard that I'm leaving this night. So he like, babe, what's happening? I left Tiberius. I left my abba a letter. I couldn't talk to him, like I said. So I left him a letter, my Saftanu. And I get to Dimona, and his brother called me. He say, how you gonna do this? You know what I'm saying? You an upstanding dude, you know, and we all get punished. You know, he went through the whole sermon with me, and I felt to the point that I couldn't do this. I can't walk away at this point right now. I'm on Onish. This the wrong time to walk away. Then it's gonna be looked at, you a punk, you ran away from Onish. I got a girlfriend. He asked me about, oh, you trying to marry my daughter or whatever? You trying to be with her? So I'm like, oh man, you know, this is called. Then my friends, I'm like, man, if I leave, I don't see myself coming back for some years. So I'm gonna miss all of that. I said, okay.
That was a heavy night for you.
That was a heavy night. Because right after that phone call was the phone call. Your ticket is waiting at the airport, so when you get here, as soon as you get to Baltimore, ask somebody to call this number, Man, I got to tell her that I'm not going. They done paid this money for this ticket, and I got to tell her that I'm not coming. And then what am I going to tell her why I'm not coming? Because all she thinking in her mind right now, they got you captured, they got you this, they got you that. So I explained to her. I got on the phone, I said, Mom. She said, what's happening? You on your way to the airport? You at the airport or whatever? I was like, listen, I'm not going to be able to make this trip. She started immediately going off. Oh, what you mean? Them people got you, what you mean you can't? I said, look, and I had to explain to her just how it was with me. I said, I'm in the community. You know the community that I'm in. You know the people. You know, I had been, over the years, I had kind of schooled her on what we do. I said, I'm on a punishment for something that I didn't do. I can't leave the country right now. If
you didn't want to leave with that over your head.
I didn't want to leave with that over my head. I didn't want to, like I said, the talk at that time was like, if you left with an honest, oh, you a punk, you couldn't take nothing, that was sorry, you know. That'd be your thing. You was running away from something.
Right.
I wasn't about to run away from no honest. Even though it was an honest that I didn't feel that
was
I
deserved.
But, okay. But I'm not gonna run. That and the other part, I had a girlfriend that I was really into, that I thought that it was gonna go there, but you know. So I'm like, I'm not coming. She immediately got mad and everything, and told me about the loss for the money, and I couldn't stop crying on the phone, but I knew at that time that I made the better decision, a better decision.
Right.
You know, so I stayed. You know, I didn't go to America at that time. I stayed. And years built on, like I said, they were still going, and I hadn't seen her. We started talking a little more, but I hadn't seen her. Marriage was supposed to happen early, or I thought marriage was going to happen earlier than it did, but it didn't. So again, I'm out. People, my friends, some of my friends get married and everything, and starting to have children, and I'm just, So then we moved from Tiberias, my family. Finally moved everything from Tiberias towards Dimona, because we had a house down in Dimona, a school. The children would stay down here during the week. I would basically be there with them. Mm-hmm. If one of my parents wasn't here, I would be there.
And you finally got off Onish.
I finally got off of Onish. That Onish.
That Onish.
That Onish. But
man, you can laugh about it now.
It's
I'm
so
sure
funny.
It was not funny back then.
It's so funny now, because and then some years later, they used to have the Red and Black Affair. Right. One of the reasons why they changed the name of the Red and Black Affair. So, we had a Red and Black Affair. I'm a CFF now. I'm bona fide CFF. Right. 24, 25.
I'm grown. For real grown.
For real grown. We I had got noticed. My Shanaima was in the States on Ovelo. I think she had went to DC they went to the restaurant to work. Yeah. Right. Worked the restaurant. El Panay, my friend, was in the States too on Ovelo Made. Now, I had got chosen to go out there and replace him. But before I got chosen, I had a talk with Abba on Yom Kippur. That was my first time doing the Perfect Heart and everything, doing all of that. Right. And I talked to Abba, and I expressed to him my desire to go to the States to see my mother. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how long she had, because during the time she was suffering an aneurysm. So I didn't know what was going to happen. And I asked him, to go. So he was like, at the time he didn't tell me when, but he was like, we'll look into that. We'll see about that. So a few months passed, and I got noticed that I was going to go on this over Elomé to switch El Panay to DC. So I was right there next to Baltimore, so I can jump and see her whenever I need it. I was like, great. The Red and Black Affair rolled around. It was always a problem with us coming up, cutting our hair, especially us doing it ourselves. If you wasn't getting Koyetziva to a Priel, you was out of line, you was out of order. And I stayed on that list. I was one of those that stayed on the list because
you always
cut my hair. I mean, or I got somebody to do it, but I didn't follow that. Right. Anyway, we at the Red and Black Affair. It was wild. Whatever happened at the Red and Black Affair got the CFF under the same dark cloud this year.
From previous years.
They had been, so it got us under a dark cloud now. Like, I'm in the CFF now. Like, I'm like, oh man,
this is just following me.
Just following us,
from YOM to the CFF.
We can't grow up. And I got in the situation then.
And you got put on Onish again?
And I got put on Onish again. It wasn't just about my hair. It was about some other stuff.
Okay. You don't have to share.
It was about some other stuff with some other people. But
and they all know who it is and what it was. So when they watch it, they'll know.
And my whole trip got stopped. Abba Gadol called me one night, me and my parents, up to the information office, Ministry of Information. And as we sat down, he told me some stuff. Or he explained. First, he told me to take off my kifar,
because he wanted to see your hair.
He wanted to see my hair. He didn't see nothing wrong with my hair. Just so for the record, he never seen nothing wrong with my hair, and he told the priest to apologize to me. Wow. For whatever that, because they came to him about a situation that ended up cutting a situation that he had arranged for me already. And you know how Abba was. Once stuff got to him, and he shot it. It's like it's already investigated. Right. That was something else that I didn't so much like, but okay, because he would get a report and he would take it at face value, and sometimes it hadn't been investigated and you didn't know both sides of the story, and he find out later on. But then you mad at him because he made a decision based on what somebody told him, and this is what happened. So when he finally saw me and he looked at me and he was like, and I seen him go over to Cohane and was like, so when they took me back down to the house, well, at the meeting, he told me some other stuff that would just, it devastated me at the time, because my whole desire at the time was to go to the States to see my mother.
Right.
You know, work for the nation too, but
right.
I knew that I was going to see her finally.
Right.
And when he told me I wasn't going, that they canceled the trip behind these things that was happening with me, you know, I fell to the ground. I'm sitting in the chair and I'm like, oh no, you know. And he was telling me, you know, one day I'm gonna wake up with my face in my hands, crying and wishing that I had made the right choices, you know, whatever. And that, at this point, I'm young, but I don't know what's going on. I'm like, this just shattered me.
Right.
My abba walked me outside, telling me all this, you know, other stuff, and I'm like, you know what? At this point, now I'm about to make that decision to go to the States.
Right.
I can get my own ticket. I'm working now. I'm living on my own. I have been living with some friends, so you know, I could do this now. Some months passed again, and like I said, I decided I'm gonna go to the States. You know, I'm gonna work a few months, then I'm gonna go to the States. I'm gonna give it another try. And this time, I knew I wasn't. My plans was like, I'd go over there, I'd go to college, go da. Okay, so then I end up meeting called Giva.
Elohai bekabatachti, alevosha al yalsu